Hello and welcome. My name is Michael Gill of Texas Senior Living Locators. In this video, I'm going to discuss the challenges faced by families of alcoholics when dealing with senior living. Alcohol has repercussions for people of all ages. For seniors, alcohol can present unique problems. At some point in one's elderhood, the body's tolerance for alcohol changes. The amount a person was accustomed to consume daily is now more intoxicating, with depression, falls, accidents, and illnesses all becoming more likely. The coincidental issues with alcohol that cause families to intervene in a senior's living situation are unhealthy isolation, self-neglect, and physical deterioration. Other issues causing concern, including the fear of the senior driving while impaired or spousal abuse. Alcohol interaction with medications is also an issue. Generally, families have no legal right to control a senior's drinking, whether at home or in a senior living community. As in most states, in Texas, there's a Residents' Bill of Rights, which gives seniors living in assisted living communities all the same rights as anyone else under the Constitution. In general, drinking is effectively a constitutionally protected right. For seniors in a senior living community, there can be challenges in obtaining alcohol by the very nature of the healthcare infrastructure, but there is no legal barrier. Of course, not all drinkers are alcoholics, nor is all drinking problematic. But when there's a question of improper drinking, what are the realities in each type of senior living? We examine them one at a time in this video. Let's start by discussing the independent living segment of the senior living industry. In independent living, families will have zero chance of controlling their seniors' access to alcohol. By definition, there are not caregivers who can report or limit access to alcohol. Many residents can drive their own cars in independent living and go to liquor stores, and for those who can't, the community provides transportation to grocery stores and drugstores in shopping centers where there are liquor stores. The community itself will often provide free happy hours and even wine with dinner on a daily basis in some cases. And finally, there is always a crowd in any independent living that hosts their own happy hours. Drinkers find other drinkers. It's just the way it goes. I had one client who convinced her mother to go to 3 weeks of inpatient alcohol rehabilitation and straight from there to an independent living facility. Within weeks, the mother had hooked up with the happy hour crowd and eventually moved in with another alcoholic in the independent living community, the unofficial leader of the happy hours. Independent communities won't stop anyone from drinking if they want to drink. The only potential upside for a problem drinker in an independent living community is that because of social interaction, drinkers sometimes won't consume to such excess as they might have done while they were isolated at home. And certainly, drunk driving is much less infrequent. Moving on to the next senior living segment, there is far less drinking in assisted living than in independent living. Studies have shown that as many as a third of assisted living residents may drink daily. In my experience, this seems quite high, and I question the methodology of the parameters of that study. But let's parse some of the factors at play here. First, let's discuss large assisted living communities, which in Texas have a minimum of 17 apartments and average about 82 apartments. When I see community-sponsored happy hours, there are generally fewer than a dozen residents in attendance. Usually these happy hours are only held weekly. Maybe 2/3 of large assisted livings will serve wine with dinner, but there never seem to be many people with wine when I'm in there. So community-sponsored drinking in large assisted living communities doesn't seem to be much abused, at least in public that I see. A problem drinker will sometimes refuse to go to or remain in an assisted living setting if they can't have access to alcohol. Consequently, there are times when the community, in consultation with the family, will prepare a care plan for a resident that includes maybe 2 ounces of liquor dispensed nightly from the medication cart. This is a good solution for many alcoholics who want the dignity of drinking, but need help to control alcohol abuse and can't be allowed unlimited access to alcohol. However, there will always be alcoholics who find a source for alcohol. This could be a liquor store delivery service, another resident who somehow has access to liquor, or a friend on the outside. As mentioned, the assisted living community has no right to restrict a resident's alcohol access or drinking. In theory, even if a resident is demonstrably drinking himself to death, the assisted living can't intervene nor discharge him for that reason. In practice, the community would consult with the family, would try and restrict his access to alcohol, or would probably send him out to the hospital when he's passed out, and then try and find a reason to keep him from coming back to the community. In small assisted living communities, which have 16 beds or less, there generally is little drinking. The smaller environment is generally much more tightly controlled by the caregivers as compared to the large communities. Physically, the residents usually require more help from staff, and dementia is more prevalent in small assisted living communities. Alcohol is rare in small assisted living communities in general. I've never seen a memory care community have any difficulty limiting access to alcohol. This is because of the very nature of a secure facility and the increased control management has over the environment. But some memory care communities include alcohol in special events and try and include it as part of an effort to maintain the illusion of normalcy for their residents. I know of at least one memory care community that used to stock its community refrigerators with beer, seeking consistency with a normal home environment. Unfortunately, there was always at least one resident that would abuse that privilege, so the practice was quietly stopped. Often, the wine and beer served in memory care events is now alcohol-free, and nobody seems to notice or mind. As in memory care, alcohol in skilled nursing is rare. There are multiple reasons for that. First, the skilled nursing environment is overwhelmingly oriented towards medical needs, not hospitality preferences. So the skilled nursing itself almost never serves beer or wine. Second, the population doesn't lend itself to drinking. Short-term Medicare residents, generally about 20% of a typical skilled nursing's population, are there only for around 3 weeks and are focused on recovery. So drinking isn't at the top of their priorities. Long-term residents paid for by Medicaid, over 50% of residents, don't have money for alcohol, as they only get about $80 per month allowance. And long-term residents paying privately, about 30% of the population, generally have complex medical needs and also aren't focused on alcohol. Finally, a very large percentage of skilled nursing's long-term residents have dementia, and their confusion doesn't lend itself to drinking either. Having said all that, in theory, a skilled nursing resident has the right to drink if they so choose. Access is the major limiting factor. My name is Michael Gill with Texas Senior Living Locators, and I hope this discussion has provided you food for thought when considering your options for an alcoholic loved one looking for senior living. As ever, if you are considering a move to assisted living, independent living, or memory care in the Austin, Texas area, please call me at 512-630-7133. Thank you and good day.